Hello, Kyle. Welcome to the Watson Report. We'll get right into it. Drew McIntyre, WrestleMania. Does he get a World Championship shot, or have WWE got a backup plan for him?
He is definitely the top favorite for me to win the Chamber, and for him to definitely get the match against Seth at WrestleMania. I am almost confident in that.
Okay, let's say Seth and Drew goes ahead. How good do you think this match is going to be? And they've worked good matches before, but WrestleMania main event level, night one. Do you think it can deliver, or will it be the same old matches we saw before?
I think it's going to be a really good match. I think they've had, I think now it's going to be their third singles match. I mean, that can recall. Think back to their match at, of course, their match at the pandemic, Money in the Bank that year, and then of course last year Crown Jewel. That was of course the better matches with fans. So should be really equal to the match it was how it was last year. So they of course a little bit different because WrestleMania is going to they want to go all out like they do at WrestleMania. But I think it'll be another great match between Rollins and McIntyre, just like before. So I'm confident it'll be great.
We'll speak a bit more about Seth and Drew, then we'll get into backup plans. Okay, the match itself, I think, is going to be better for the reason Drew's character is different.
Right.
It's like we said earlier in the other podcast. He thinks he's a face. He thinks he's saving WWE, but he's not. I think that's a brilliant story. I mean, what do you think?
I think it's a unique aspect that I've never really seen before from a heel, where he thinks that he's not the good guy, but he's doing a lot of heelish stuff, but he's still being betrayed that he's not wrong in of his actions of who he's going after. And so I think it's just a unique way that I don't remember ever seeing in a heel where he's doing all these drastic taxes to win, but yet he's feel like he's right. Because think back to what happened even on Raw, he got the victory because of a
yeah, so I think that's because it's different. It could be their best match yet, right?
I think it would be.
Okay, in regards to Drew, I'm just throwing this out there. Let's say Drew doesn't win the title, but he does something heelish after the match, like beat the hell out of Seth. Or do you think he has to win?
I think. Well, I don't know if he has to win. Well, if he was to stay, because of the report of thinking of him the rumor of him, he's either signing his contract or whatever. I don't really probably believe that, but who knows? But I think he has to win. I could see him win, but then I could see him immediately getting cashed in on by Damian Priest. That is possible to happen. He could definitely win the championship, but then lose it immediately to Damian Priest. That's a real possibility. So I could also see that happen.
Okay, I actually didn't even think about him cashing in on Drew, which is interesting. It's interesting. What would happen with Drew's character then? If he won, he's worked so hard, he's got that moment, and then Damian Priest cashes in. That could also work if he hasn't truly signed a contract and he was set to leave the company. But let's say he doesn't leave the company. Let's say he's staying. What happens then? Damian Priest wins, then what? Got any solution, Kyle? Kyle, you there?
Hello? Yeah.
It cut out. Yeah, it cut out. Okay, so did you hear what I said about Damian Priest?
Yeah, but I think, for Priest, I think if Priest wins the championship, they could go a million directions here. They could have multiple They could do like a whole triple threat match between Priest, McIntyre, and Rollins for his first title defense. Of course, you could tie in the Finn Balor aspect of that as well. Them to go after each other, but then you're gonna have to lose the tag team championships at WrestleMania as well. That's also needs to happen as well. I think earlier in the show, the Priest and Balor will drop the tag team championships to maybe Miz and Truth that is the direction, and then do what they did with Damian Priest, like they did with Seth Rollins in 2015, where he lost to Randy Orton, but then the main event he cashed in the briefcase. Because I could see a similar thing here, where Priest and Balor drops the tag team championships, and then Priest can cash in and win the World Heavyweight Championship from whether it's Drew or Rollins, whoever walks out as champion. So I can see, and then build off the feud there between Balor and Priest in the spring.
The reason I think that this cash-in works is because, just bring it back to Drew a second, Drew's character, I think he might go even more chaotic and psycho if a cash-in happens. Do you see that? Carl, you see that happening? There might be a connection issue on your side, Carl.
I can hear you fine. You can't hear me, can you?
Yeah. Okay, so I can hear you again now. We might have these cutouts, but we'll continue to go. So, do you think it's interesting because of Drew's character, if the cash-in was to happen, that he might go psycho?
Yeah, he may just lose his mind, start attacking people backstage, interrupting matches, until something happens. Like he can see how long that's going to last for, how long he's going to do that for until and then see what type of character that's going to be. So it should be interesting to see how that's going to work. So that should be interesting.
Because I think, obviously, a lot of people are talking Damian Priest, Universe title, but by doing it on the world title, I think you're going to put a lot of focus there with Seth, with Drew. Damian Priest will also be fresh in the title scene. And like you said, you can do a 3-way, you can possibly bring in Finn Balor, do a 4-way. There's a lot of things that can be done here that can take us over several months, right?
Yeah, for sure. And also too, the factor too that they may even do the draft as well. So maybe let's bring new people on Raw. They may even change brands. And maybe it all comes out to they're going to do a draft as well again and mix up the rosters as well throughout the spring. So I was looking to take that into consideration because
Okay, let's say obviously the cash-in happens, Drew doesn't win. Let's put Damian Priest to one side then. Is there a chance you think that Seth might just beat Drew clean at WrestleMania? Did you hear that, Carl? Carl, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know what's happening. Okay, just continue then. In regards to that, what if Drew loses clean?
If Drew loses clean, it just comes down to if I don't know. Again, I think it just comes down to just whatever they're gonna do. I don't know. I really have no idea. I'm drawing a blank here for that. I don't know what he's gonna. He's either going to do a whole. He's gonna just go crazy and just attack people from behind until whatever Adam Pearce says, whatever he'll get himself suspended or something, and then he's gonna be off television for a while until I don't know. That's just gonna be interesting. I don't really have a full. I don't really know clearly what's gonna happen if that does happen because I don't. It can just go 1,000 ways. I'm not really sure where Drew McIntyre will go if that does happen, really, without even fully seeing it.
Okay, I think he needs to lose to Seth. And the reason is the continuation of the character, the story. So whether you do it priest, whether you do it one on one, I think there's a lot of progression to happen there. So the way I'm thinking is Drew would still be in the title picture. He would just lose at Mania. Then he would win that title probably maybe a month or two after. It just wouldn't happen at Mania. Um, but I definitely think by the end of this year, he's getting the title. Where there are some wrestling fans saying he needs it at WrestleMania. With you watching WrestleMania, would you be disappointed if Drew lost clean?
I wouldn't be solely disappointed. I'll be more surprised, but not really disappointed because I like Seth and Drew both really, but so I wouldn't be disappointed, just a little just surprised for me. So
Okay, and what if Drew wins then? He's won, he's got the title. What's next for him if he wins?
I guess this is his own celebration type thing, and then I guess whoever they want to have him in the ring with.
Do you think it makes more sense story wise to have him lose? Because I'm thinking that might be best. Have him lose. I know it's not maybe what a lot of people want, but the story can move forward in a better way. What are you up for, Carl? The story or Drew's moment of winning? Which one you up for, Carl? Let me know, Carl.
I said, for me, I think, I don't know. I think I want Drew to win because it's just gonna be, just have him have this moment and have him beat Chip in front of fans. He can still if you want to be a heel, then he's a heel and all that stuff. And so just I just say just why not just pull the trigger, give him the championship, and let's see how he. I mean, I did enjoy him as champion before during the Thunderdome, but I didn't really. I'm not. I'm personally not that high on McIntyre personally because he's not like my ultimate favorite person in the world. But I'm not. I won't be. I won't hate it if he has the championship. If you know that, so
Okay.
I'll just say pull the trigger.
Okay, so fine. Either way, WrestleMania. I mean, okay, let's speak about something we haven't spoke about then. Let's say he doesn't take on Seth. Let's say he loses an Elimination Chamber. Um, the only person I could probably see him working with is Kevin Owens, which we Raw over SmackDown. Um, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he loses, which way you go with this. You think he's going to win that chamber?
Who Owens?
Drew McIntyre. Because if Drew doesn't win, then Drew's not getting Seth, right? What do you reckon, Carl? Still there, Carl?
Staying here.
I don't know. I don't know if it's this app playing up. I don't know what it is, but I can hear you now. So carry on.
Okay, maybe because I turn off my. Maybe because I have my phone turned off, it can't hear me. Then I have it on, you can hear me.
Is that
I don't
happening
know.
every time it goes blank? Mate, is that happening every time it goes blank?
Yeah, it goes. It just so yeah. So
I,
I thought it would just
I
okay. So
just
I guess it's
keep it open then. Okay.
okay.
In regards to Drew McIntyre, then, let's say he doesn't win the chamber. Obviously, he's got to get a feud out of that chamber for a WrestleMania match. And obviously, I said Kevin versus Drew is the only way I can see it going. What if Drew doesn't win? Who does he take on at WrestleMania?
Oh, I don't know. There's no really clear option of who that person's really going to be if it's not Seth at this point, because it's just been what the story they've been telling for the last few months. So
Okay.
I'm not really positive really who he's going to face. There's no really real clear direction of who McIntyre faced beyond Seth Rollins. So I don't know.
What about someone in the chamber? The thing is, a lot of these chamber guys are SmackDown guys, so it would be more of a SmackDown.
Right.
Kevin Owens is someone. The reason I picked him because I don't see him continuing to work with Logan past the chamber, so that's why I picked him and Drew, Kevin Owens and Drew. There could be Randy Orton and Drew as well, but I don't want to see them. I don't want to see those matches. I think it'd be a letdown not to have Drew versus Seth at this time. But what do you think about then Drew versus Owens, and what about Drew versus Orton? Both would be Raw versus SmackDown matches.
I mean, I just already seen Drew and Randy before. I don't really want to care to see that again at this point. Owens and McIntyre doesn't really make any sense to do. I think I don't know what he do with Owens in WrestleMania. I don't think he has a clear direct. He could maybe possibly face Logan Paul again at WrestleMania. I mean, everyone keeps saying LA Knight, and we'll see. But there's a possibility that Owens could face Logan Paul again at WrestleMania. For some reason, I just see that.
Okay.
So, but with McIntyre, I just still think the end goal is McIntyre and Rollins, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't. If anyone else, I just don't. Everyone else on the pay-per-view, I'm not. I'm on the match itself. Like Bobby Lashley, for example, I don't know what he's going to be doing. Maybe still facing Karrion Kross because their issue isn't over with yet. Randy Orton, not really possibly sure where he goes. And Kevin Owens, not. Like I said, him Logan Paul. So Randy Orton's the only person I'm not really sure indefinitely what he's doing at WrestleMania, honestly. So
Okay, let's say they decide Drew versus Orton, a rematch at WrestleMania. Now, I do think I don't want to see the match like you saw it many, many times, but as a normal match on the WrestleMania lineup, so it's not the main event, Drew possibly being Orton clean. Would you be open to that, or would you just rather not see it again?
I mean, I'm open to see it. I just don't know if it's just not. I just think as of right now, the way Drew's character is, as of right now, the way they have positioned him, I honestly don't see that happening at all at WrestleMania between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. I think it will be. I still think the end result will still be Rollins, and it goes all the way back to CM Punk's injury. You know, had he never gotten injured, I don't know. I think there would have been a real possibility for face to face. Maybe even I really thought he was going to probably face Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, McIntyre and Sami Zayn. If that was my whole thought, but since so I mean, it's also that's what you could do with Sami Zayn at WrestleMania as well, because he's kind of in limbo as well. Maybe they face each other at WrestleMania if McIntyre doesn't win the Chamber.
Yeah, so there's a lot of limbo going on because I don't think Drew was originally in the plans for the main event. Because of things happening, he probably is. Sammy vs. Drew is a match also I wouldn't be interested in. Okay, let's say Drew wins the title then. I think he's going to hold the title until CM Punk comes back. I don't think, because that's a feud you've got to do. You can't not do it. If he gets the title, I mean, I know we talked about cash-ins, I know we talked about this and that, but we look at things at all angles. What if Drew keeps it till Punk comes back? Do you think that could be a possibility?
It could. I mean, that's possible. I could definitely see McIntyre just have a long run in general, whether Punk was injured or not. So, but yeah, I think that is a possibility for sure. He can be champion for as long and for a long time till Punk comes back, and even when he is back, he can still be champion for the rest of the year, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I think he would have had a long title run whether Punk was injured or not. So
Yeah, because Drew could do the storyline like once he's got that title, he will do anything, and it doesn't matter what he does to keep that title. And it could be some big feuds coming up for him. But Punk would be like the final boss, in my opinion. Punk versus Drew. I don't know what Punk's timeline is. But say Punk just works with Drew and Punk loses. I think possible, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
No, you got.
Okay, in regards to Drew and his run now, us wrestling fans and especially internet wrestling fans, they get bored very quick. Do you think Drew is going to manage to keep the wrestling fans engaged as a champ?
I think so. Especially if he's a heel, I think that this works better when you're also a heel. It's also it's a fresh stain if you're going to be behind it for a while. It also depends on how long he's going to be champion for. That's the other thing.
So
It's
how long? Take a guess. How long do you think?
at least a year. I'll give it a year. A
Yeah.
year, probably 3 months, maybe. I'll say that.
So I'm going 9 months to a year. So just similar to what you said, a little bit off with the dates. But the reason I'm going with that, because I don't think the Raw Championships had prestige. Seth hasn't really done the job in making it bigger, where I think Drew can. And I think Drew will make that title mean more only if he's heel, not as face, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And I think with Seth, the only, I guess, I don't want to say problem, but it's just the fact that you know, realistically, a babyface champion honestly could only be is should be champion for only like a couple months, not from May till April. That's for like a babyface. That's just unheard of in some respects. They've done that with Becky. They've done it with Bianca. They've done that with a lot of babyface champions, or they'd be champion for a very long time, and then their title run gets stale. So it just works better for like a long title run on a heel than a babyface for most people who that feel that way. I think to me, it's yeah. I just think it's if I like them enough that I won't mind them be champion for as long as they are, depending how big of a fan I am to them personally. But so yeah, if McIntyre does win the championship, and him being a dominant heel, and then for a while until he drops it to he could drop it to like Jey Uso, honestly, at some point. I can see that happening if that could be the direction moving forward.
okay,
Because Jey Uso,
so
go ahead.
carry on.
I was gonna say because they also could tell the story between Jay and Drew as well, because Drew has an issue with Jey Uso and the whole bloodline stuff. They can have a match. I'd rather, I definitely want to see that at like Money in the Bank or like SummerSlam between McIntyre and Jey Uso, let's say, or that could also be that could happen in the fall, whatever the fall pay per view is going to be. I could definitely see that happening with Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre. And that's something I could get behind for sure. That's something they can do with Jey Uso if they don't want him to be, if he doesn't win the IC championship sometime, if he's not going to contend for the IC championship throughout the fall, he could go after McIntyre, and that's something I can get behind too. So
yeah, so Drew and Jey Uso, it's not something I even thought about actually, but you're right. The story's already written. They don't need to build on it, but they will. They will build on it because it's WWE, and that's how they do things, right? And that's why they're so good. Drew versus Jey. Do you think that'd be a main event match, or do you think it would be just another match on the SummerSlam card?
I think it's a Raw main event. I don't think it'll happen on. I don't think it'll be like. I don't think it'll happen in the main event of SummerSlam. It could. I guess it depends of how. I guess it depends of the more of the popularity of more that Jay's gonna have. He's already super popular as it is. See what happens after WrestleMania and after throughout the spring and summer, and then it just depends of how they use Jay Uso after WrestleMania and all that stuff. He's still super over with the crowd
Okay.
now, so that's where it comes down to.
So I misunderstood you then. I thought you were talking for it to be a SummerSlam match, but you weren't, right?
I mean, I could see that happen. That's a possibility. I could see it. I'm not really down on that. That's a possibility for that to be the match for SummerSlam. It also depends of how. It depends, how if Jey Uso's still going to get this big crowd reaction and a response after WrestleMania as well. If we still see the fans interact with him coming out to the crowd and doing and he's still super over and all that stuff, which I think he will be. So that's what I do. So if that does happen, SummerSlam, McIntyre and Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam is not a crazy theory for that to be a real thing.
But I like the idea, and I think it spotlights Jey Uso in a different way, working with Drew. And I think they could have some really good matches together and a brilliant story. Yeah. But my only problem is I don't see Drew losing the title until he gets that match with Punk. So, but I would still like to see Jey Uso versus Drew in a number of matches, not just one, maybe like 3. Regardless of Jey Uso winning or not, would you still like to see the feud on Raw?
Yeah, I think that'll be fun. It'll be a new dynamic to see. Jay facing more have a feuded program and go back and forth on the microphone with someone like Drew McIntyre on a weekly basis. That'd be a refreshed new thing for Jey Uso that you've never seen before. So because he's been only focusing on his family and that, and rarely been focusing on anyone else on the show, and that'd be a fun thing to watch, to see him interact with other people on the show beyond his family. So on a week to week basis. So I really want to see that.
So it's fresh. It's new. It works. I like it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even have to win. Drew can beat him.
No.
This is what.
But it would be something new. It should be something new with Jay to make him feel even more, to have him even branch out even more from the bloodline, so that he can really focus on himself and that he get himself even more over as a singles wrestler. But so by the time he does win the IC championship, because I think that's what he's gonna win. It's gonna be worth it, because he's been seen now even more, so being separated fully away from his family as he was trying to do. But they want to do this match with him and Jimmy, whatever. But once that's over with, they can focus on Jey Uso as a singles wrestler on Raw even more when he goes after McIntyre, and then whoever the IC champ is going to be, whether that's Gunther or whatever. So, in the fall, so I could definitely see that by the time it's next year, Jey Uso will be IC champion by the fall. That's my thought.
So it's good though. I think obviously I didn't even think of Jay and Drew and the way Jay could benefit from this. Did you already think of that, or did you think about that during this discussion?
Well, I kind of thought about it during the conversation, but I was just kind of thought because but also just in general, just Uso just as a whole, it feels like been a refresher piece on Raw, and so it's just been the best part of Raw as far as I'm concerned. And then he's just been, and so I've been thinking about Jay for a while now, because I've been thinking about him because I was thinking about him just being the IC champion, and just him being finally branching out into really being a singles he's a singles wrestler, but being really focusing on as the top baby face on Raw, and being like, and so. And then so the him being a world champion that just came out of my mind just now. But my thought of him being the IC champion, I've been thinking about that for a while.
Okay, so IC champ, I thought about not Drew, like you joined the discussion. So let's talk about their matches where they would take place. So I'm going to name where I think, and then we'll see what you think, right? So I
Okay.
go. The first one I think would be randomly given away on Raw, which I think would end in maybe a double disqualification. I think SummerSlam, they definitely would do one there. Not the main event, it will just be on the show. And then you do that final match, potentially in a gimmick before Survivor Series. So I'm not sure what show, but it'll be some Survivor. So I think we'll get 3 matches out of them. And WWE do this quite regular. It's not like example AEW. They give you the one-off match and done. They'll give you 2 or 3, and the feud will outplay. Where do you think that matches will take place? Do you have any idea?
I could see it happening at. I could see it happening at Money in the Bank, SummerSlam.
I got that one.
Maybe even.
What about the very first match? Do you think it possibly could be given away on Raw?
I hope not. I hope the first match it happens. I hope the first match happens like at Backlash. That'll be the first world title match with McIntyre and Jey Uso. That's going to be in France, so I can see that being like the first big title defense with McIntyre with Jey at Backlash. So the very next month. So
and Backlash would actually be a great place to do it. It's going to be a wild crowd. I thought last year's Backlash was the biggest. It appears this one might even be bigger, and it would be a perfect place to do it, right?
Yeah, it's going to be in France. And I think I don't remember them ever going to France before for a WWE show for a pay per view. So that's going to be a big show there. So I think that'd be a perfect place for that first match to have between McIntyre and Jey at Backlash in May. So
okay,
so see that.
From what we've been discussing, the Drew Jey Uso obviously interests us both, right? And we spoke about Damian Priest working with Seth and Drew, which is also interesting. Now, these are just 2 feuds that could get you through most of the year along they're ongoing. Then where would Punk? I mean, I don't know what Punk's injury is. Do you know when he's due back? You got any idea?
No idea. I don't know. He's still in the sling. It looks like it's. I think if it's going to be anything similar to Becky Lynch's injury, because she for her being injured in August and her coming back in November, it could be something similar here where he got injured in January. He may come back maybe at October, September, maybe probably if it's not like if he or did he need this surgery? I think he needed surgery, didn't he? So I think he's gonna be out for a while. If that's the case, then because Becky didn't have surgery. So, but Puck is getting surgery. So since he's getting surgery, he may miss a year. Or is that now that I'm thinking about it, may not be until next year. Maybe so see Puck. I assume either that or maybe even December. I don't know, but since he's getting surgery, maybe out even longer than people may expect.
Okay, and somebody else, obviously, we haven't mentioned, but I just want to throw his name in the hat. Again, all these people have to work with Drew, because the podcast obviously is going to be about Drew. Cody, let's say he doesn't win. If he doesn't win, I'm not saying immediately, but surely he's got to work with Drew. If Drew is our world champ, right?
Yeah, I mean at that point, but if it was up to me at that point, if Cody Rhodes does lose the WrestleMania to Roman Reigns, then my thought anyway is that I don't think he should wrestle at all for a world champion ever again, as far as I'm concerned. But that's just me. But that's because at that point, I'd be like, it's like it's no use because the guy clearly doesn't. They don't see him as a world champion clearly. So for me, if that does happen, I would have been shut out I would have not been all that interested, because I would know the outcome already because they refused to put the world title on Cody Rhodes at that point. So they could do it. I just wouldn't be interested.
Okay, let's say. Obviously, I get what you're saying. Cody's going for the main title. He doesn't need another opportunity. But what I'm saying is, if Cody does lose and Drew is champ, I can't see them not doing that.
I mean, they could. I think they might. I don't know. Would people really care? Really? I mean, all people get behind that fully. I mean, are they just going to be here again? Is losing to Drew McIntyre? What's the point? Like, it's gonna be to a point where people are just gonna view Cody Rhodes as just still not just being built up, but being a loser at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter how big a reaction this guy gets. If he keeps losing, then how big his reaction is going to be for, if he's going to keep losing big title matches. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't think people will be all that interested, really. I don't think.
Do you understand why I brought his name up? Because Drew's got to work with people, right?
For star power. Yeah, for star power, for sure.
Okay, let's say Drew's not champ and Cody doesn't win. I still see this match happening at some point, or a feud at least, which Drew could probably win. If no titles are involved, are you up for it then, or still not really?
I mean, it'd be a great mid card match to do for on the mid card for sure. That'd be a fun feud to watch. I just won't be. I just don't really fully care. Because I'm not invested in either guy personally. I like them as wrestlers. I will enjoy their matches together because they'll have great. I enjoy them both as wrestlers, but just as characters and as personal investment, I'm not. I'm kind of shut out with that. But yeah. So as a match perspective and as a feud, I can well, as a match I can get behind. As a feud, I'll be like, okay, I don't really fully care because I'm not invested in either guy. So
the thing
that's how I
is,
feel about it.
I don't mind seeing Drew and Cody, but I don't want to see it as for the world title. That's my only thing. I don't want to see it for the world title. But otherwise, I don't mind seeing it. But I don't think a pass by. Cody wins. He beats Roman, then we're not going to get that much anyway. Okay,
he's about SmackDown, so.
Okay, someone else. I just want to throw a name out there because whoever Drew works with as world champ is going to get spotlight. What about Chad Gable versus Drew McIntyre? Now, it's a bit random, bit out there, but I think they could work some really good matches together, even if it's just one match. Or do you think that lowers Drew? And I'm talking this being a world title feud.
They're gonna have to really build up Chad Gable even more. He's got to be on TV weekly. I think it's going to be a downgrade for Drew McIntyre because Chad Gable isn't seen in that level yet because he's rarely on television, and what he is, he's doing these comedy. Well, not comedy. He's still in the tattoo with Otis. Is still viewed as a comedy act, and so it's going to be a downgrade for Drew McIntyre to face Chad Gable immediately in the future. So I don't
remember Chad Gable versus Gunther. It was getting believable that he could win, right?
Yeah.
Could you believe Chad Gable could beat Drew if booked the same way he was with Gunther?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's even from that it's like when he faced Gunther, I thought that he was going to and then I thought by now he would have been a singles wrestler by now and do some more singles work, but then he's rarely on television. And what he is, he's been losing, and he hasn't really cared too much about the IC Championship anymore because he doesn't talk about it on television no more. A lot of people online have been, but he hasn't, and the company doesn't really. So I just don't know how. I just don't think I personally want to see it because it's just not really all that. It's not all that interesting, and I'm not invested in it with because they give me a chance. It's like, what's the point of getting behind Chad Gable when he's not being booked in that way of a world champion contender type person? So I don't see it.
Okay, there's something else you mentioned earlier, which I didn't really go into too much depth about it, but I just want to speak on that a little bit. You mentioned the draft, right? Now,
Yeah.
I always felt Drew McIntyre would be better on SmackDown than Raw. Would you like to see him get drafted? Say if he is, I mean, both champs can get drafted, but let's say if he's champ or not, if he's champ or even not champ, would you like to see him drafted, or maybe see people drafted to the brand Drew's on to work some feuds? That making sense?
Yeah. I think for um, I think if he was drafted to SmackDown and as world champion. Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know. He was on SmackDown before, so it's not like it won't be like a new thing. But I do think, yeah. I mean, if he as about SmackDown, probably face Bobby Lashley again, maybe,
Yeah.
or depending on who else is gonna get, he can
Oh,
face Braun Breaker.
Bobby
So
Lashley was the one I was thinking. Bron Baker, I think they'd probably keep him away because
or for that, yeah, I do think he's gonna go after at least the big card championship for right now. I think he's saves. I'll save Breaker for like next year at some point. If ever, he'll be a world champion like next year or
okay,
whatever. So
Bobby Lashley, you mentioned him, he came to my head as well. He's worked some really good matches with Drew in WWE and outside. TNA shout out. Would that interest you, Bobby Lashley as Drew on the SmackDown brand, or maybe Bobby Lashley getting drafted to Raw and you do it on Raw?
either or, I think that'd be a good match to do, a good feud to do for McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. It's been a while since they faced each other anyway, so for them to go back to it, and this time with the roles reversed as McIntyre as a heel and Bobby Lashley as a baby face, I think it's something I can get behind to see.
Okay, one final name, which I think before the draft. What about R-Truth and Drew? I mean, I'm not joking. I'm being serious. What about R-Truth and Drew working a feud?
I really don't really see that.
Don't see it at all? No chance? Kyle, open your phone. You've gone silent again. So, what would be the issue with R-Truth versus Drew?
I think for me, it just does it. I don't. It's gonna be Archer. It's just too goofy. He's just a goofy character. He's not serious. He's just there for comedics
Yeah,
to be a comedic act on the show. That's what he's good for.
yeah.
And I can't take him seriously in a world championship level at all. So that's just why I just can't get behind that.
The reason I said it, and I agree with everything that you said, the reason I said it to get people talking. If he was in the title feud, thinking the Judgment Day are with him, I think that would get people talking. And Drew being as the champ would get more eyeballs on Drew. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it could be very similar to when Truth faced John Cena that one time. It could be like a one off, like you said, but was said earlier about one off matches with Drew McIntyre. That could be a one off
Yeah.
between McIntyre and Truth if they want to go that direction.
I mean,
Um, so it could
yeah,
happen for like one match, but
yeah, that's all I would see. I can't see it progressing. Like some of the other matches we named or possible feuds, they would be ongoing. But this one, I definitely would only see as one match and done. Is there any other potential names that Drew could work with as champ or even not as champ the way he is now. I think there's a long list. I think he
This is
definitely
a lot of people. It guess it just depends. We're just got to wait and see what happens because it's not really. It could be someone we're not really thinking of who can burst out into a top star and be in that level. So it's gonna probably be someone that we're not really thinking of right now that could be like the breakout star of this year to be who could compete with Drew McIntyre that we're just not thinking of right now because they're not. They have to wait till they be like the breakout star of the year or whatever, whoever that's going to be. Last year was Jay. This year could be someone else that we're not really thinking of that can
yeah. Oh, exactly.
a total surprise. So uh
And there's a
yeah.
lot of talent on NXT. The draft can refresh things. So you're right. There is plenty of things that could be done. Uh, we'll see if Drew wins at the Chamber. We've covered it both ways. If he's not a champ or if he's champ. But you think he's winning, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he is. I think it's so. There's all the choice. Yeah.
Okay. And one more thing, Seth. Going back to Seth. Seth said he would be cleared by WrestleMania. So is there a chance he's just going to win and continue the run?
He could. I mean, I'm not. I personally don't hate Rollins as champion. Personally, I still kind of enjoy him as champion. But if it's very similar to when if it's very similar to Becky. There has to be a certain person I would like to see Rollins lose it to. So I'd rather him for lose it to someone like McIntyre or Damian Priest or someone that I actually like equally to Seth Rollins. So that's personally for me. But so yeah, for him to if he remains champion, that's fine. I still enjoy him as champion personally. I know a lot of people don't, but I still do. And so there's a chance he could retain. I just don't know if he will though.
Okay, so there's something. Obviously, we've discussed a lot of different angles for Drew, but one of the things that we haven't discussed, which I just need to touch on, let's say, obviously, I don't read many dirt sheets, but it's out there. He's thinking about going, right? Well, not thinking about going. He hasn't signed the extension, rumored, right?
Yeah, I've heard
Let's
that too. I don't read it to his dirt sheets either. I just heard from other people say that was the rumor, all that stuff. So yeah, I've heard that as well.
Okay, let's say he's going. He's done. I know you don't watch the other companies, so I won't get into where he could end up. But how would you feel if Drew was no longer an employee of the WWE anymore? Meaning you wouldn't see him there anymore. How would you feel like that about that?
I mean, it'll be different. It'll be a weird feeling because he's the way he's positioned now than he was in the past. Where it wasn't really he meant really nothing as a when he left the first time. So I didn't really care too much about him leaving the first time, and then when he came back, I was like, okay, interesting. But then if he leaves now, knowing that he is now he's a former world champion, the way he's been booked on Raw, he's the vocal point of he's been the vocal point of WWE lately throughout the last couple of years. It will be weird, but I won't like cry over it because I'm personally not that big of a fan of McIntyre as it is. I'm not like it's not like when Sasha Banks left and I was like, oh man, type of feeling. But so is that so I would feel I'll be fine with it because I'm not all that invested in McIntyre like a lot of people are.
Yep. So I'm with you. Like I am. I'm interested in what McIntyre is doing now. It's probably the best work he's done in a long time. But if he left, it wouldn't bother me too much. And you actually answered the question earlier without the question being answered at now, which is there's always fresh talent coming along. And I don't think he is a main eventer, he is a big name, but I think he could be replaced just like that. And I think if he does go, he's going to be replaced quickly. Or do you think
Yeah. I mean, like if it was because let's just say if it was Seth Rollins who left, right? It would be very really really weird because Seth Rollins has been the vocal point for years, being like in terms of being a top star since day one. So if
yeah,
so if he left, I'll be like, that'd be very weird. That'd be like that's what I feel very weird. Like, oh my god, no Seth Rollins on Raw or SmackDown at all. So that would be where I would feel kind of weird. But if it's like Drew McIntyre, I wouldn't feel all that. I won't. It won't be upsetting to me that much as it would if it was Seth.
Agreed. I'm like you. If it's Seth or Roman or they're on another level, whether anyone likes it or not, Punk, Seth, Roman, they're on another level to say Drew. Or even Cody, I think those guys are on another level.
That's you, yeah, Cody as well. If Cody left as well, it'd be kind of weird at this way because the way he's been positioned on television since he came back to the company as well. That would also be really weird too
Yeah,
at that point.
but I don't think it would mean as much as some of the other guys. But you're right. I get the point you're trying to say, right? So that
Yeah,
makes me think that maybe Drew isn't as big as everyone's making out. If it would be just quickly forgotten for the reasons you said. Okay, would you follow? I know you're just a WWE guy, but would you follow Drew to any company just to see what he's doing, or no?
not really. That's that. I wouldn't do that at all. I've when it comes down to if it when it's like Sasha Banks or Paige when they left, or even Tony Stark when they left, I follow what they were doing and
Yeah.
and and I follow what and all that stuff. But then and so I would know what they're doing. But beyond that, when it comes to someone like Drew McIntyre, I'm like, nah, I don't really care what he's doing after. If he leaves, I wouldn't really care to follow what he's doing because I'm not all that invested.
Like I said, it's definitely going to be interesting the next couple of months at least to see what's going on with Drew because I don't think no one really knows if he's staying or going and winning the title or not winning the title. But I think personally he should stay. WWE is the number one place. I think they're doing some great work with him now. I think
Right.
he would only downgrade going anywhere else. What do you think?
That's a fair point. That's yeah, because right now he is on fire. What he's doing right now with this character and with his and his matches as well. He's been one of the top stars on Raw for pretty much since he won the Royal Rumble in 2020. So he's just been the top star since 2020 at that point. So it'll be just really bizarre if he leaves now because of the way he's been booked throughout the last few years.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say about Drew McIntyre before we move?
No, I think we got all the different angles with McIntyre headed into the chamber. It was I think that's all I have to say about McIntyre at this point.
Yeah, I think we've covered. I mean, obviously, it seems like we've covered every angle, but obviously, there's always stuff that comes up after. But I think,
Yeah, but just as of right now, I just feel like this is where we
yeah,
are now, heading into chamber. Just the stuff that we know currently. I think that's all we have right now. At least that's all I have to think about for McIntyre, what he's gonna do. You
okay.
know, for him.
Let's see what's going to happen at even if he just win the chamber. There's so many different angles this could go. But let's see. I mean, I think I'm done with all the Drew talk. So, and you said you've done. So, thank you for joining, and I will invite you to the next one. So, I'm going to wrap this up. So, I'll see you later, Kyle.
All right, thanks. See ya.